It was a decades-long bloody war that saw thousands killed, including many women and children who fought alongside the men. It began as fighters supporting the Communist Party of Nepal, the Maoists, began attacking small police and army outposts back in the mid-1990s. Their aim to overthrow the monarchy and establish a people's republic. As peace talks failed, the violence escalated until a state of emergency was declared in 2001. Large battles broke out. By then, up to 40% of those fighting for the Maoists said to be female, and up to 40% also children. A real rebellion against years of severe poverty and oppression. The government and monarchy, though, buoyed by support from, amongst others, the US, Europe and India. Well, then in 2005, King BIRENDRA dissolved the government, taking absolute power, declaring the Maoists must be defeated. Anyone opposing him, human rights activists, journalists, even politicians, imprisoned. Opposition members even fleeing the country and demonstrating elsewhere. For example, this mock funeral held in New Delhi.
You know what you can see now, this future, if he doesn't give power to the people and if he doesn't release the democratic leaders and give back the power. For that we are, in Nepal, we cannot bring this kind of demonstration anymore because the media is banned, as you know, and we cannot do any demonstration there. So many leaders from Nepal, including myself, from Nepali Congress, we have ran away, we have come here.
Well, bowing to internal and international pressure, though, within months the king agreed to reinstate Parliament. Opposition parties began to work with the Maoists, and amid declared ceasefires, a lasting peace deal was finally signed at the end of 2006. The Maoists moving into Parliament and abandoning their guerrilla status. The monarchy finally abolished in 2007. 10 years on, though, what has become of those women and children who took up arms as the country continues its democratic future? Surya Banerjee and Thomas Denis revisit Nepal for France 24.
A celebration is underway in Annapurna. Nepal is in the throes of a campaign for the upcoming legislative elections. In this district, in the heart of the country, thousands have come to cheer for their favorite candidate, Sapna, a former child soldier. At 37, the Maoist candidate is among the 7% of women to run for office. Today, the Maoist party is a major political force in Nepal, and its luminaries have come out in support of Sapna. Amongst them is Prachanda, or as he was known during the Civil War, the Fierce One. Once the supreme leader of a ferocious rebel army, today he's all smiles.
You will participate in the first elections under the new constitution of our young democratic and federal republic. It's a matter of pride for us after so many years of fighting and sacrifice.
From 1996 to 2006, 16,000 people were killed in Nepal, among them many child soldiers. The Maoists had no scruples about recruiting the very young, and at its peak, children accounted for 25% of the rebel forces. Sapna was one of them. Captured by the Nepalese police in 1998, she escaped from prison to become an icon for other child soldiers.
I joined the party aged 12. I was still in school. My teachers, who had communist ideas, influenced me a lot in my convictions and my participation in the Maoist struggle.
One day, the model student decided to take the plunge and vanished into the jungle.
That day, I didn't say anything at home. I just informed my brother and his wife that I was leaving. I would have preferred to talk to Mum and Dad before leaving, but I really couldn't. The woman who accommodated me the first night told me to go home, that I was too young for that. So I lied to her, and I pretended to go home.
My heart ached, but I had to rationalize it. I told myself that my daughter had a dream she wanted to fulfill. I understood. I cried and cried, but she was still young, and we believed in her. We trusted her.
I've always had a fighter's soul. Sapna was my war name, and today I wish to be called the same way. It's with that name that I made history.
It's a history that the Maoists wrote in blood. To everyone's surprise, after 10 years of bloody civil war, they laid down their arms and went to the polls in 2008. They won. The monarchy crumbled and Nepal became the only country in the world with a democratically elected Maoist government. While some child soldiers are in politics, most have now been forgotten. Western Nepal was the heartland of the guerrilla war. In these wild hills, living conditions have not changed since then. Here, each family gave and sometimes lost a child for the revolution. The heroes of the war are now unemployed or back in the fields. It is on this hill that the most deadly battles were fought. JEEWAN will never forget them. He was 14 years old when he was first given a weapon.
For me, the fighting was very difficult because I was so young. I thought about my mother and father, my little sister, my house. I really wasn't sure about getting out alive.
After a few years, JEEWAN became a troop leader, a massive promotion for a child of shepherds.
Beware, they're firing. Hello, brigade. Please send reinforcements immediately.
In total, JEEWAN lost nearly 1,500 combatants under his command.
In my head, it was a good thing to risk my life, to fight the oppression of the state and the tyrant in the palace, the king.
But today, JEEWAN feels betrayed. He dropped out of school during the war, and now he has no job and has never received any bonus for the years of fighting. Like thousands of Maoist fighters, he won the war but gained no peace.
During the war, I took part in 113 battles and was wounded 13 times by bullets. I also underwent 5 major operations. Like me, many made sacrifices, but at the end of the war we were forgotten by the party and the government. It's unfair. Frankly, for us today, nothing's changed, nothing at all. In addition, the war's left many orphans. The state doesn't take care of them, and life's difficult for them. They have trouble finding clothes, food, going to school. The state does nothing for them.
Despite his disappointment, JEEWAN has not managed to completely break free from the sway of his former division commander, now a minister. During election time, he agrees to lend a hand.
Our vision and mission have changed. In our program, we want to meet the basic needs of the country and the people of Nepal.
Officially, the Maoist army did not recruit children under 16. But as this commander admits, unofficially, it was a different story.
JEEWAN was a small boy. He was a child. We told him he's not old enough and that we could not recruit him. He was told to go home and come back later, but he refused and insisted, so we admitted him.
For a party that's trying to forget its crimes, it's difficult to openly admit to the indoctrination of thousands of children. But for the children, it's not easy to forget. Some are attempting to radically change their lives away from politics.
This is the kukuri. Here is mine, and this one is hers.
It's rusty. We cleaned up the blood.
It was protecting us, but people were also attacking us with it. The kukuri is easy to use. This side is to cut, to slice, and this way is to disembowel the enemy. It was also used to cook or to make our camp in the jungle. When the charges of firearms were empty, we still had our best friend.
Both Arjun and Purna are former child soldiers. Like many children, they were married to fellow fighters during the war, but their spouses were killed in action. Their mutual grief brought them closer, and soon they ended up marrying each other. Today, these former Maoists have embraced capitalism. They have made their fortune in agriculture and fish farming, a flourishing trade in Nepal.
Here we have just set up the net. We will trap the fish by putting it into the basin.
Arjun does not like to talk about the war. He has erased those dark years from his memory. Today, he is proud of his organic farm, a rarity in Nepal.
Among all the people in our community, he's highly respected and has become a model with his company. When I started working with him, he was just a normal business manager. I did not know anything about his military past. In politics, there are ups and downs, alliances and conflicts. I think he started this business to get money and provide for his family's needs. This one is the biggest. Let's check the weight.
21 kilos.
How much for 21 kilos?
That's 5,000 rupees.
The total is 11,000 rupees?
That's it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I am very happy. Thanks to this business, I am free, independent. I focus on my resources, and at the same time, I participate in the economy of my country, which needs it.
At the end of the war in 2006, Nepal was one of the poorest countries in the world. But now, the economy is growing steadily at 7% each year. Arjun and Purna feel like they have played a part in this economic resurgence. They no longer dream of changing their country. Now, they just want to ensure a comfortable life for their children.
I have really changed my mind since I joined the movement. Now I do things for myself, my family, and the future generation.
Back in Sapna's district, it's D-Day for the war heroine. In a few hours, Nepalis will vote and seal this veteran's fate.
Today is like an exam. It's the second stage of my struggle after the Great People's War, peace and the Constitution.
From guns to the ballot box, a strong symbol in a country where few women engage in politics. During the war, they accounted for more than a third of the Maoist army. But since then, most of the female veterans have returned home and taken on more domestic duties. Sapna wants to inspire the next generation.
Women are in the shadow of men in all areas of society. If we elect women, it will benefit us all.
She's always fought in her life, and I'm proud to vote for her. I want her to win at all costs. I strongly believe in her victory.
In an ironic twist of fate, Sapna, the Maoist, now has unshakable belief in Nepal's democratic destiny.
Many women have participated in the war for their rights and those of the people. What we have accomplished during the war, we will continue in times of peace.
A few days later, the results are in. Sapna has lost, but the Communist Alliance has won an overwhelming majority. Sapna and the other fighters don't want their children to ever bear arms. Their only inheritance from the war will be the stories their mothers tell them.
Surya Banerjee and Thomas Denis revisiting Nepal for France 24. Well, that's all from this week's edition. Don't forget you can catch it and all the previous editions as well on our website at france24.com. More editions coming up, as well as the news in a few moments' time. Do stay with us.